Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Dog food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Yes, hello, and welcome on in to another episode of the Wicked Boston Show, powered by Rogue Media Network. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air as he does every weekday live at high noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's not just Boston, it's Wicked Boston. And for one team in this city, things are going wicked poorly right now, like really, really bad. In fact, both teams that play at TD Garden in the winter could be picking in the top 10 of the draft next year. But this is as bad as we've seen the Bruins in 20 years. And it was all on display in that just massacre in Ottawa last night. We will talk about that on today's show. We will also talk about Christian Campbell. We have received word as to why he didn't have the season the Red Sox were hoping for him and what they're going to do with him in the offseason. But really, when it comes down to it, is there any place to put Christian Campbell? Do you need to trade this guy? We'll talk about that. Plus, a lot of talk about Drake May, Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, Steph Diggs, all these guys. But who are the unsung heroes? Who are the most underrated Patriots this year as they sit atop the AFC East at 6-2 and on a 5-game heater? All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. But we start where we start. What Boston is talking about today is this embarrassment of a hockey team they've got. The Bruins go on the road to Ottawa, a team that is finding their form lately, but has had a tough start themselves, and they just let it snowball. 7-2 is the final, and this what we saw from the Bruins last night looks very much like what we saw from the Bruins last year. And while the other games this year have been more competitive, you look at the record, you look at how many points they have, and yeah, this looks like the team from the end of last year, from post-trade deadline last year. This was a massacre last night. And it was the first time they've really gotten blown away by a team. But you are what your record says you are, right? Right, Tuna? The Bruins are at 8 points. They're tied for the lowest in the Eastern Conference again, because that's where they ended last year. And they're only behind the St. Louis Blues, Jim Montgomery, the Sharks, and the Flames for the worst record in the entire league. They go from losing 6 in a row, all in regulation, no loser points, to this stunning win over the Colorado Avalanche. And then you follow it up with your worst result of the season so far. 4 power play goals they gave up last night. That's been the best part of the Bruins game so far, the penalty kill. Give up 4 power play goals to the Ottawa Senators, who scored 5 seconds into one of the power play and 15 seconds into another power play, both of them in the third period. I mean, you're just like putting down the king on the chessboard. They're already mailing it in. They're already giving up. We're not even to November yet. We're not even through the first calendar month of the season for the Bruins. And they look like just a dead team walking. And you wonder, what is the issue? There's so many issues, so many that you could have seen before the season. But Andy Brickley asked Marco Sturm, what's the deal with this? And for basically the third time in a week, Marco Sturm had the same very concerning answer.
Just mistakes of execution, and how damaging are those, and how fixable are those mistakes?
Yeah, I think it's you either buy in or not. That's right there. You know, that's the difference, and that's what if you just look at the Ottawa team today, and they do it, and we're not, and that's the game.
Penalty kill.
That's the third time in a week your head coach has said there's not buy-in. There's not enough buy-in. Who's not buying in? Can we know who is not buying in? Can those players be benched? Is that possible? Because we're seeing the same lineup out there every night. Casey Middleton got healthy scratched once. They split up McAvoy and Lowry once. But other than that, that's it. And meanwhile, a guy who looked like one of your future pieces a year or two ago in Matt Poitras just sitting there in Providence, the head coach is saying in Boston that there's no buy-in and that there's not really much we can do. The roster is what the roster is. You could bench some guys. You could assign some new roles here. But instead, it's just nope, nobody's buying in. And that's like really concerning, man. Because here's where the Bruins are supposedly different. Of course, I see right through this, and I think a lot of you do too, but here's where they're supposed to be different. Look at the Bruins and the Rangers versus the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks knew what they were a couple years ago, and they said, we have got to blow this thing up. We have just got to go full youth movement. The Blackhawks did it too, by the way. Another Original Six proud franchise. They said, we have just got to blow this thing up. We've got to bottom out. We've got to rebuild this thing. And the Sharks, man, they get a number 1 pick, Macklin Celebrini. They get Will Smith, a number 2 pick, I want to say. Another number 2 pick in Michael Misa. And they've got the foundational pieces. or at least they think they do. The Bruins and the Rangers, they think that they have too much pride to just tank this thing. Because again, as we've said for months now, in July, the Bruins should have done nothing. They should have done nothing at all. They should not have went out and got Sean Corrali. They should not have went out and given a 5-year deal to Tanner Jeannot. They should have just stood there, stood pat, and said, you know what? We're just going to have to eat this one this year. And with a nice draft class in 2026, then we can start. We already had a top 10 pick in 2025, who is probably going to be on this team by the end of the season. Shoot, they're going to need him. But the Bruins and the Rangers sit there and they think, no, we've got to spend up to the cap. We're these proud franchises. We'll retool. We'll do it on the fly. This is so obvious that you can't do that. You don't have the roster to do that. You don't have the prospects to do that. You probably don't have the coach to do that. Not really his fault. First-time coach. And you definitely don't have the general manager to do that. So why are you doing that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And you're reaping what you have sown. Sowed, whatever it is. You're reaping it right now. You're built as this big, ugly, physical team, and you don't do any of it. You're not big or physical. You're trying to be like every other team in the league when you're not built like every other team in the league. You can't skate, you can't pass, can't create chances, can't create anything 5-on-5, and they're just refusing to play the way that they're probably best suited to play, the way that everyone thought, okay, this is the way they're building to play. The Sturm hybrid defensive system, it's not working. It's early days. I'm not ready to just give up on that, but it is not working. And this is a team that was supposed to make a jump to the playoffs this year because you spent up to the cap, and that became the expectation because they could win games with their goaltending and their defense. Well, right now, they are 29th in goals against per game. And on 5-on-5 this year, they're 32nd in shot attempts allowed out of 32 teams. They are 30th in expected goals against, 30th in scoring chances allowed, and 29th in high danger chances allowed, according to Scott McLaughlin of WEI. Like, this is not good in any way that you have tried to build your team. None of that is fitting. None of it is working. None of it. And you've got a point where for the third time in the month of October, your head coach is saying, yeah, we don't have a buy-in. We don't have enough of a buy-in. Big physical team that can't play big or physical. Which reminds me a lot of Charlie McAvoy, who might be your most disappointing player so far. Charlie McAvoy has been an albatross in the first couple of weeks of the season. And if you're willing to give him a little slack, I get that, right? He missed 32 games at the end of last year. But bottom line is he has been brutal to start this season. Just brutal for the Bruins team. And it felt like they had finally done something right on Saturday when they played Colorado. They split up Charlie McAvoy and Mason Lohrei. And it worked, and they won in regulation. And Mason Lohrei played as well as he's played in any game of the last year or so. And Monday, what did they do? They went right back to McAvoy Lohrei. Right back to it. That pairing this year, the Bruins have been outscored 9-6 in 110 minutes of 5-on-5 with that pairing this year. It's terrible. It's brutal. And I think they were on the ice for 4 goals against Anaheim on Thursday. They're just not good. They're not good together at all. And then they put McAvoy with Zadorov in the third, and Zadorov's been one of their best players this year. But he goes into his old habits. He takes a penalty the first shift. McAvoy has 2 minor penalties in that period. And partly because of that, but partly because he stunk, McAvoy has the lowest time on ice of any Bruins defenseman last night. Just barely 17 minutes played in a divisional game on the road. That's the kind of guy you're supposed to be relying on in games like this, leaning heavy on. 6 assists in 11 games, not terrible. He hasn't scored a goal. -5 rating. And it's honestly at this point in Charlie McAvoy's career, and it's too bad to be saying it this early, I just don't think he's ever going to be the physical player you want him to be. I don't think he's going to be that player again. You know, everyone talks about how great he looked in the Four Nations, and I'm there with you. In 2 games, he looked very good. Again, it was 2 games, and he played with reckless abandon. He played a physical brand of hockey that he used to play. We all see the hit on McDavid. Like, that's the way he used to play. And now he doesn't. I don't know if it's the recurring injuries. Obviously, that was a big injury last year. He's starting a young family. I don't know what it is. It felt like it was a Jim Montgomery problem, but now it's eked over into the Joe Sacco and now Marco Sturm problems as well. He's just not the defenseman that was finishing top 5 in the Norris Trophy a few years ago. And at this point, at age 28, I don't think that's ever going to happen again, which is sad because he's in his prime. But he's just not that guy anymore. I think he can be a nice, solid defenseman. I do. And for a contender, he's a hell of a guy to have on your second pairing. But for a team going where the Bruins are going, for him to be your number 1 defenseman, that's not your future. It's just not. I don't know that he's ever going to be that player that he was in 2020, 21, 22. The 2019 run to the Stanley Cup final, he was great. I just don't think he's that player anymore. And I don't know if he's going to be that again. He's a nice player, clearly does a lot for the community and everything. But at this point, is he untouchable? I don't know if he's untouchable. I think Pastrnak might be the only untouchable guy on this team. But this team is starting to look like what I thought they might be going into this season, and that is the worst Bruins team in 20 years. I really think that is what they're on the path towards. And those first 3 games of the season where they went 3-0, I think a lot of us as Bruins fans watched and said, look, okay, they're not going to be one of the best teams in the NHL, but they showed some competency there. They showed the style that we were sold on from Marco Sturm. You know, maybe this does get them into the postseason or get them close. What we all agreed on after 3 games is like, yeah, they're not going to be the worst team in the league. 2 weeks later, they could well be the worst team in the league. Yeah, they're in serious contention for Gavin McKenna and that number 1 overall pick, which at this point is probably the best thing for the Bruins. But let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are suffering through this Bruins season like I am and the rest of us around Boston are. You can check us out on YouTube every weekday live at noon Eastern time, wherever you get your podcasts as well. Check out the other videos. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. We got some bit of hope from a winter team that plays at TD Garden for their home games. The Boston Celtics avoided their worst start in 50 years by taking out the New Orleans Pelicans. Woo! Beat the Pels, baby. They won pretty comfortably. And they ended the game on a 27-4 run. Good Lord, have mercy. Where did that come from? From the Boston Celtics. The Pelicans made 2 field goals in the 4th quarter. Oh, man, if you don't catch the fever for NBA basketball, that Bruins should probably take notes, by the way. Like the Pelicans, that's how you do it. That's how you tank. The NBA, if they know one thing, it is how to tank, man. They know how to get that shit done. The Bruins don't. The Rangers don't. The Penguins clearly don't. They're a team that should be in the mix for Gavin McKenna right there at number 1 overall, and they're still sitting here winning games. They won again last night. They don't know how to tank. The Flames barely know how to tank. They have the least amount of points in the league right now. Buffalo's better than the Bruins. The Islanders are better than the Bruins. We'll see them in town tonight. Matthew Schaefer getting his first time skating at TD Garden. That'll be interesting. I might try to go. Might try to pop down to the Garden tonight. Tickets are cheap. Good tickets still available for this Tuesday night game against the New York Islanders when the home team has lost 7 of their last 8 games. So it's bad. It's bad. Let me know how bad you think it is in the comment section below. And when we come back, we're going to take a little bit of a hopeful look, I think. I'm still in on the Christian Campbell train. But are the Red Sox, They said this one thing went wrong for Christian Campbell this year, and it might block him from making the team next year. And if that's the case, is it time to trade him? We'll go over that next on the Wicked Boston Show. NFL fans, what's your favorite touchdown? For me, it's the next one. Because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props, or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Lines and odds subject to change. Here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code CAMSHOW. That's code CAMSHOW for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
We are here, Rogue Media Network. It is the Wicked Boston Show, hosted by Cam Stuart and Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week live on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. We have talked about the Bruins tank and how that's very, very much on go. The Celtics getting their first win of the season. And wouldn't you know it, the end of October, right in the smack dab of the middle of the World Series, it's time to talk about the Red Sox and mainly whether this thing is getting more dysfunctional. Those of you who watch the show know I'm a big Christian Campbell fan. I really thought Christian Campbell should have been back up on the big club come September when the rosters expand by like a couple of guys now. It used to be a lot. Now it's not as much. And that didn't happen. He stayed in Worcester from June all the way up to the end of the season. And now we have finally a reason why. The Red Sox are breaking their silence and finally telling us why Christian Campbell did not make the big league roster towards the end of the regular season or even into the postseason, where they definitely needed some new bodies. And it's because he got skinny. Man, what a problem to have, right? Brian Abraham, the director of the Red Sox player personnel, told Jen McCaffrey of The Athletic that they attributed some of Campbell's struggles to his weight loss, saying that without that extra weight, he couldn't drive the ball as hard with that kind of violent swing that he has. I just thought, man, that's what I'm doing. I'm not exercising. I'm not eating healthy because I don't want my swing to be obsolete, right? I think that's what we're all saying. But this was a very odd year for Christian Campbell and certainly for Red Sox prospects in general, right? You knew that these big three guys were probably all going to make the team at some point in the season. And Roman Anthony, far and away the best, was the last one to make the team. Campbell was the one who made it right on opening day. And his first month, he was great. Rookie of the month in MLB. And then it all went way, way, way downhill to the point where in mid-June, they said, we can't do this anymore. We're sending you back down to AAA. And he stayed there for the rest of the season. Brian Abraham also went on to tell Jen McCaffrey that the Red Sox were disappointed in Campbell's numbers and production in AAA. It looked good to us, the fans, but they said those numbers weren't what they hoped. Drove in 38 runs, 382 on base percentage, just a tick, 799, just a tick under an 800 OPS for the last 2.5 months of the year in Worcester, mostly playing first base and a lot of center field. Therein lies the problem. Even if Christian Campbell puts on some weight, has, good routines in the fall, has a good spring training, and he's ready as a hitter to be back up in the major leagues, which I don't think is crazy considering how well he hit through all the professional ranks before this season. Let's just say he's ready as a hitter. What position do you put him at? What is Christian Campbell's position? That's what we're still trying to figure out as fans, and I think that's what the Red Sox are still trying to figure out as well. Again, in Worcester, he played a little bit of first base at the beginning and then mostly in center field. But you have another young guy, locked in, long-term, cost-controlled player in center field who is a much, much, much better center fielder than Christian Campbell is. Cedar Rafael is a streaky hitter, but he's been in the Major League Ball Club for 3 years now. You've got him on a long-term deal, and he's a Gold Glove center fielder. So you're not putting Campbell out there. But in reality, he should be playing second base, right? He's athletic enough that you should have him in the infield, but obviously does not have the defensive acumen to play shortstop or even third base at this point. So second, where you brought him up with to begin the season, is the most likely place for him to be playing. But if you're keeping Trevor Story around, the guy who led your team in home runs and RBI last year, if you're keeping Trevor Story around, he's going to be playing second. Much, much, much more often, if not every day. He had 7 errors at shortstop the last month and a half of the year in 2025. He's not playing shortstop every day anymore. That's going to be Marcelo Meyer's position. And Trevor Story provides way more offensively than Campbell does. And to be fair, Campbell was not very good at second base last year. So now you figure out what can you do with this kid. And the way I know the Red Sox, the way we all know the Red Sox over the last few years, I don't think this is a good thing for Boston. I don't. Because I see this playing out one of two ways. One way is they say, hey, Christian, how about you add as much weight? Add a ton of weight. Muscle, fat, whatever it is. Just keep adding that weight so that you can have that power back in your swing. You can drive balls more into the gap. And we're going to put you at first base. Remember when you played that in AAA? Remember how you were ready to play that when Rafael Devers would refuse to move? How about you go play first base for us? And we'll save some money. We won't get Pete Alonso. We won't get Kyle Schwarber. We'll just have Christian Campbell playing first base and Romy Gonzalez on the days that he's not. So that's my first nightmare scenario. The second nightmare scenario is you trade Christian Campbell. Now, at surface level, Christian Campbell should have some value. And so you think, okay, well, if you're trading him, it's not exactly what I want. It's not really what I was hoping for at the beginning of last year when he looked a real player, right? But he might be able to get you some good return in a trade. Well, that's not how the Red Sox do business. Because in theory, yeah, you could trade Christian Campbell with one of your other tradable assets, your tradable minor leaguers that you're willing to throw into a deal anyway, and get a top-of-the-line kind of player. Big-time starter, big right-handed power bat. That's how that trade should work out. But this is the Red Sox we're talking about. And this is Craig Breslow that we're talking about. The problem with Campbell in terms of trade bait is he's locked in for a long time. He's cheap, but he's locked in for 8 more years, and it's $7.5 million a year. $7.5 million is pretty cheap for a top prospect, but it's expensive for a guy whom you don't know if he has a position. You don't know if he has a position or not. You don't know whether he can hit for a full season in the major leagues or even half a season in the major leagues or a quarter of a season in the major leagues. And so when you factor that into it, then this starts to look a lot more like these patented Red Sox trades of the last few years, not the least of which being Rafael Devers, where you say, yeah, but if you take the whole contract, we'll just take whatever your spare parts are. We'll trade him for some reliever who's not even going to make our postseason roster. That's the fear I have with trading Christian Campbell. If he's part of I really like Campbell. I think he's going to be a good player. If you can get him as a part of like a Joe Ryan kind of package, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with parting with Christian Campbell. But more likely than not, it's going to be some team not wanting to commit to that kind of money. Again, pretty cheap for a guy whom they don't know if he's more than a quadruple A player. And so how I've seen the Red Sox do business is they take those guys, they trade them, and they get them for nothing, dollars on the penny, so to speak. That's how it's looking from the Red Sox side of things. Pennies on the dollar to get someone like Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison and that single A guy in return for Rafael Devers just because they ate all the money. So I believe in the kid, man. He's hit at every level. He certainly showed that he could hit for a month in the major leagues. I think it's just way more important that he figures out a position. And I don't think the Red Sox did any favors by playing him out in center field so damn much. In AAA, every night he was playing center. I just don't know what that does for the kid. He's not going to play center in this league, not for the Red Sox. When is he going to play center? You going to make Cedon that super utility guy and just take a Gold Glove out of center field? Like, why wasn't he even playing one of the corner outfields? It just doesn't make any sense to me. That is one position that I know he's not going to play for the Red Sox next year. So what do you do with Christian Campbell? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Of course, we come at you every weekday live at noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio here on the Wicked Boston Show. I want him to be good, man. I really want him to be good because I still think there's a world where Christian Campbell has more upside than Marcelo Meyer. If nothing else, by availability. He plays more. Marcelo Meyer gets hurt every year. And I see a ton of potential in both of them. I just think Campbell, if he figures this thing out, he can be versatile for you. And I think he is going to be a real good right-handed hitter, a real good infield hitter. By that, I mean a hitter who plays in the infield, not a guy who gets a bunch of infield hits. Anyway, if I keep talking about this, I'll go blind. When we come back, let's talk about the Patriots. They're on a bigger heater than anybody else in Boston. They are the talk of the town once again. Guys like Drake May, guys like Mike Vrabel and Stephon Diggs. But who are the guys we're not talking about that have contributed to this Patriots success? We'll tell you the most underrated Patriots of 2025 next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show on this Tuesday, I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke, behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Today, we've talked about the Bruins and their tank, and that's not very good. The Celtics getting their first win and what to do with Christian Campbell, but we've buried the lead in that the talk of the town right now is the New England Patriots. It's felt good, man. It's been a long time since the Patriots have been the talk of the town. 5 wins in a row, 6-2. Nobody in Boston can shut up about the Patriots. For good reason, man. This is fun again. This is great. We're seeing the pieces that could build the next Boston championship team. Pieces like Mike Vrabel at head coach, like Drake May at quarterback, like Josh McDaniels as OC, like Milton Williams in the center, Stephon Diggs catching big passes. All of those guys have been at the edge of everyone's lips this year. But the Patriots did not get to 6-2 just because of those guys. There's not just hope for the future because of those couple of guys right there. The Patriots have some unsung heroes that we have not highlighted yet this season, and the time is now to give these guys their due. I'm going to give to you the 4 most underrated Patriots this year. Patriots in no specific order, because in number 4, we start with one that's not even a player, but Zach Core deserves to be one of the most underrated Patriots so far this year. This is a dude who stepped in for your defensive coordinator who you just brought in this year. So Zach Core comes in 2025 thinking, okay, I'm the inside linebackers coach. Last time a guy went from linebackers coach to a bigger role in New England, it didn't work out so well, but I'm learning from Terrell Williams. This will be great. He's never called plays as a defensive coordinator in his life until this year when Terrell Williams has not been able to coach. So Zach Core stepped in, and this defense is showing signs of getting better. They're only top 15 in the league right now in a lot of categories, and I think they have the potential to be top 10. But here's a guy, Chris Collinsworth, who came in with almost no experience, has been on some bad teams the last couple of years. He was with Vrabel in Tennessee, and those last 2 years were not good. And then he was with the Giants last year for a 3-14 team. And all of a sudden he's thrusted into play calling duties for the Patriots this year, and they're sitting at 6-2. It's a guy who's coaching on Tom Herman's staff at UT and then Texas State not all that long ago. And all of a sudden he has done a exemplary job, mainly by the fact that most people don't know his name. If you did at this point in his career, it probably wouldn't be a great sign for the 2025 Patriots. So Zach Core stepping in, stepping up, and making this Patriots defense legit and being a huge reason why the Patriots are 6-2 right now. Speaking of that defense, how about our next guy on the list? That is Jalen Hawkins. When Jalen Hawkins plays, Jalen Hawkins is damn effective. And you saw that against Cleveland once again on Sunday. Now, he had missed the previous 2 games, but he came in and he did not miss a beat. Who needs Jabril Peppers? You've got Jalen Hawkins at home. He's got their highest graded player. He was their highest graded player against the Browns, had a coverage grade about 90, which is awesome, and made that unreal interception on a Dylan Gabriel deep ball, oxymoron alert, that would have set the Browns within the 20-yard line and would have made that a much tighter game at the time. I think it was still 16-7 at the time. This dude makes an unbelievable play, maybe one of the best catches of the year, offensive or defensive player, to pick it off in the sun, going into the shadows. It was the play of the game for the Patriots. And it's a nice story in that he's kind of on his last chance in the NFL here. The Patriots signed him short-term, low money last year after it looked like he was kind of on his last rites of an NFL career, signing short-term for the worst team in the league at that point, looking for a role on a good team, and he's found it, man. He has found it. 2 picks this year in 6 games, also has a sack and a half for a safety. That's the thing I loved seeing from those Bill Belichick defenses. Mike Vrabel and his staff puts a little bit of that in there too. The blitzing safeties really work, and they can deploy him in a ton of different ways, and they're all working right now. He could cover a bevy of different guys, and really that whole defensive backs group has been excellent for the Patriots this year, much better than I thought they were going to be after week 1 when they gave up 7 explosive plays to the Raiders. But obviously, Christian Gonzalez, all-pro player, right? We knew what he can do. Carlton Davis, when he's on the field in his career, he's been a damn effective player. He's been on the field this year. Marcus Jones, huge step up this year. And Jalen Hawkins has been the other guy that has really solidified that core, that position group, and has made this Patriots pass defense pretty formidable, man. And I know they've gone against bad quarterbacks the last couple of weeks, and they've had some slow starts, but they're turning the ball over. They're putting their offense in good situations, and Jalen Hawkins has done it in every game this year, not just against the bad quarterbacks. Every game that he's played in, Jalen Hawkins has shown up tremendously. So he shows up on the list of the most underrated Patriots in 2025. Next on the list is a bit of a controversial pick, but next on underrated Patriots, Will Campbell. Controversial decision for a couple of reasons. First off, he had a bad game on Sunday. Probably the first bad game of his NFL career on Sunday. We'll get to that in a minute. Second reason why it's probably a little controversial is he was a top 5 pick in the draft. Like, he should be rated highly. But Will Campbell came in, as we know, not like most other top 5 picks that you see. Came in with a lot of baggage from not him, but the scouts and the media. And certainly I was not high on Will Campbell coming into this season because of the hand size thing. As someone who doesn't have big hands, I get it. I don't like to be doubted, but sometimes I should be. Will Campbell, same thing. Just never had an all-pro with hands that small at the tackle position. It's not unreasonable for people to think that he might not be a tackle in this league like he was in a lower league, like the SEC. But what it comes down to is it's just a shame we haven't talked about this guy a little bit more because he has been fantastic short of this Sunday's game against Cleveland. Rough day. Myles Garrett facing a future Hall of Famer in his 8th NFL game, Will Campbell. That's a lot to go up against. So, yeah, honestly, some of the one-on-one reps that Campbell had with Myles Garrett weren't that bad at all. But giving up 2 sacks is giving up 2 sacks. Before the game, though, he was one of the highest graded tackles from PFF among anybody in the league, including being graded higher than Tristan Wirfs and Penei Sewell. So those are 2 franchise left tackles there, 2 of the highest paid guys in the league. He's definitely looking like a tackle, not a guard. And I thought about putting Morgan Moses on this list as well. Not that he has been great by any stretch. He's been aggressively okay, but just the fact that your left and right tackles are not abysmal is such a step up from last year. Like, it's a night and day difference. And obviously, those of you watch every week as well, you see it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a pro football scout to realize that Drake May makes his offensive line look better, right? He gets the ball out quickly and he's maneuvering the pocket really, really well. And even more important than that, he's great at making plays outside the pocket. So this Patriots offensive line, it's certainly not elite or anything like that, but it's a major step up from last year, from being just downright dreadful, probably the worst in football, probably one of the worst I've ever seen, actually. And Will Campbell's a huge reason why. And I just don't know that we've talked about him enough, because it's all been about Drake May, and I guess rightfully so. But Will Campbell looks like a tackle in this league. He looks like a franchise tackle in this league. And that is very, very much a bonus from what you thought you were going to get, at least in year one. I thought it was going to be throwing him to the wolves. It has certainly not been that way. So Will Campbell definitely gets some shine as an underrated Patriot here in 2025. And the last one I want to highlight, Robert Spillane, another guy who had an awesome day on Sunday, like Jalen Hawkins did on the defensive side. This is one that's really interesting because Will Campbell, we talked about him coming in and all the question marks around him, and they were loud and they were glaring because he was a top 5 pick. Robert Spillane, there was a ton of question marks around him, but they weren't as loud because he was a guy that nobody had ever heard of around here. Right there, he plays a lot of games. He's played 42 of 42 games since the start of 2023. He's actually started all of them. But the question marks around him were his usage. Was he on the field for enough of the snaps to justify what you'd be paying him? What role is he going to be playing for you? And he has been super duper dependable. He has led the team in tackles by almost 20 through 8 games. He's got 67 of them. And our friend Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated, who comes on this show every Monday to break down the Patriots, he has crowned Robert Spillane the defensive MVP of the team so far. And it's tough to argue. This was a guy that had played for Josh a little bit. And I don't know how he was on everybody's radar, but he was on their radar. And Mike even said in that column that he wrote that there's some Mike Vrabel in him. That outside linebacker who can drop in coverage a little bit, get after the passer a little bit. Robert Spillane definitely fits that. I think Mike Vrabel was nearly a Hall of Fame player, by the way. So I don't think Robert Spillane is that. But he has been excellent for them so far. And Sunday against Cleveland was by far his magnum opus, man. 14 tackles, led the team comfortably, 2 TFLs, and an interception that set up the Patriots' first touchdown of the game, his second pick of the year. I didn't think Robert Spillane was getting 2 picks in the first half of the season. The guy has been an absolute monster out there. And we talk about how much the offensive line has improved to go from really one of the worst ever to like, okay. But that linebacker core has taken a huge step up this year. And there's so many guys we could talk about for that, but Robert Spillane is the number one guy in that category. Robert Spillane is the most underrated Patriot so far in 2025. So shout out to him for making this defense a little bit more well-rounded. That was a gamble early in free agency. And in fact, after they made that signing, that's where I said, okay, man, I know the Patriots have a lot of money, but this is the NFL. Like, these are the guys that make it to free agency. Just like in 2021 with, Kendrick Bourne and Hunter Henry, who's a fine player, but you're like, these are the guys that make it to free agency, not the true game breakers. You have to draft those guys. You have to develop those guys. But Robert Spillane has been as good as you could ask for from free agency so far. And with just the Patriots off season, it's looking pretty good with guys like Spillane and Milton Williams and Carlton Davis and Will Campbell and Travion Henderson. Harold Landry leads the team in sacks. Things are going pretty well for that first year of the Vrabel Stretch, Elliott Wolf, brain trust putting this thing together. So we talk a lot about Drake May, but those are my 4 most underrated Patriots this year. Who are your most underrated Patriots this year? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday live at noon Eastern time on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So ring the bell, get notified every time we're going live so that you can take a break from the BS of Boston Sports Talk Radio. This is your lunchtime alternative right here. Turn us on the Wicked Boston Show. I'm Cam Stuart. Zach Burt keeps us on the air. We will see you tomorrow on the Wicked Boston Show.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.